Mark My Words Productions.
There's something special about the waters, the ocean. Many say the seeds of life sprouted from such a thing, but it's also a cemetery, home to the bodies of many of Africans that either jumped ship or were thrown overboard a few hundred years ago during a time that is now known as the American slave trade. The ride from St. Thomas over to the island of St. John, you cross over what is known as the Middle Passage, thought to be some of the roughest waters on this earth. This hasn't changed, but so many things have. So why does there still seem to be so much hate and resentment plaguing some people today? We must find a solution, because there's always a solution.
Does it unnerve you that the Tea Party are gaining such traction?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Well, it just shows the weak, dark underside of America.
Why am I a Minuteman?
Yeah.
Because illegal immigration to anybody's house should be stopped.
And who was here before the Europeans were here?
Indians.
Okay, and
Right.
So who invaded their territory, our territory?
We're supposed to be better than that. We really are. That's why all those people were in tears when Obama was elected president.
America has come a long way. Since the days of Christopher Columbus over 500 years ago, slavery was once a thriving business for hundreds of years, until Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, declaring all slaves in rebel states free. But before this happened, many attribute the uprisings in the Virgin Islands on the island of St. John to having started this course to freedom.
Basically what they did is they used that, and as they kept going from, let's say, village to village, they kept calling on the slaves. And what he's holding in his hand is what they used to cut the sugar cane.
Wow.
Right, so you understand the symbolization of
Yeah.
So they went from village to village picking up slaves. So they actually organized this revolt. And they marched up to Government House and told them, it's a whole song that, there's a song that goes with it.
So we owe the Virgin Islanders for our freedom.
Pretty much. But it's like, basically saying what they did was revolted, and their thing to the slave masters was, we demanded, we coming for our freedom. So there's a song that was, that came out of it, we going for our freedom, we going for our freedom. And they were marching, singing that. Okay, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But it showed how strong we were. And when you talk about organized,
it has been over 250 years since the first slave revolts in 1733 at the Coral Bay Plantation. Over 150 years since the American Civil War started in 1861. And over 65 years since the Montgomery bus boycott started in 1955. And 3 years since this country, the United States of America, elected its first black president. But the question many must wonder is, do we still have far to go?
I've been receiving racist fan mail lately. I call it fan mail because they inspire the fuck out of me, for real. Little did they know. But I got like 40 comments on this one video, like 36 of them are like, fuck you, you nigger, go back to Africa. And I replied back to him, bitch, I ain't even been to Africa. I ain't even been to Africa. How the fuck can I go back? But anyway, like, it inspired this poem.
Dwayne Dog Chapman, the bounty hunter, is apologizing after he was caught on tape in a racist rant. The website for the National Enquirer recorded 2 phone conversations, or released the recorded phone conversations.
It's because we use the word sometimes here.
Who's out? He's a nigger! He's a nigger! He's a nigger!
Oh my God.
A nigger! Look, there's a nigger! Who you calling a nigger? Huh? Who you calling a nigger? Who you calling a nigger? Huh?
I'm the
All right, you see? It shocks you. It shocks you to see what's buried beneath your stupid motherfucker.
You see what I'm saying? That's the only part I've been getting so far. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? I don't see what you're saying.
Jazz pianist and singer Harry Connick Jr. was angered and embarrassed when he agreed to judge an Australian talent show.
20 years ago, as medical students in blackface, they mocked the Jackson Five, and apparently no one noticed. This time, celebrity judge Harry Connick Jr. rated the group's talent 0 and its taste appalling.
Man, if they turned up looking like that in the United States... Oh, yeah.
Despite an apparent cultural divide with some of the other judges, after a commercial break, the program's host returned, expressing regret.
I think we may have offended you with that act, and I deeply apologize.
I know it was done in humorously, but, you know, we've spent so much time trying to not make black people look like buffoons that when we see something like that, we take it really to heart.
Connick said if he'd known about the skit in advance, he wouldn't have been on the show.
Put that unit online to supply some of this island with electricity. That unit.
Sugar was the main industry here in the 1700s. Sugar dominated this island here for over 150 years. All of these vegetation was down, sugar cane was planted on all of these hills. They also used to grow a little cotton and a little tobacco. There's no more tobacco, sugar cane, or cotton grows here. The only thing that grows in the Virgin Islands is Toursant. We had quite a few sugar plantations here. We had about 2,500 slaves who used to cultivate all of this land here to plant sugar cane. It was a lot of hard work because at that time there were no machinery. Everything has to be done by hand. But in 1733, the slaves, they rebelled. They asked for a better raise in pay and a better plate of food, and they were denied. So 1,500 of them decided to take their own lives. Straight ahead of us, the first mountain straight ahead of us there, it's called Mary's Point. After they were denied, 1,500 of them got over there on Mary's Point, right on top of the hill. On the other side, there's a cliff. They went there, held hands, closed their eyes, and jumped off. So that's when the sugar industry really went downhill. Okay?
All right.
So hope you enjoyed the information.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Yo, first of all, I just want to say Jesse Jackson's a bitch.
Speaking to CNN's Don Lemon on the Situation Room, Reverend Jackson said his comments were taken out of context.
What the fuck is, who is in his asshole right now? He is a bitch, man. First of all, I don't understand why people can't understand why, like, a lot of black people don't understand that Barack, first of all, this is what Barack is going for is bigger than race. For real. This is about the country, this is about the world. This is not a race issue. Two, he can't run a race issue. Because one, it's not about a race issue. So these motherfuckers repping right, even though, yo, they're right. They are right. But shut the fuck up. You can't say that shit right now. But anyway.
Why in the media world that you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and apologize? That shit erase what the fuck you do or said. Like, nah, you on some bullshit. Like, you should be like, yo, I don't fuck with Barack Obama. My name is Jesse Jackson, and I approve his message. I don't fuck with Barack Obama.
But you know what? Still, for him to feel that way, if the people in the country, the majority of them, can get past everything that was ugly about that shit and elect a black man president, dude, that says a lot, dude. And that's what Jesse and Martin and all of them work for. And for somebody to be in that position, and for Jesse to act like that now, just because it wasn't him, or just because for whatever reason, maybe Barack didn't make an appearance on his show or did an interview with him, that's some bitch ass shit. The 2008 presidential American election was about one thing: destroying the limitations of the color of your skin. But in doing so, many fail to see that it is not important for Barack to be a black man. It is important for him to be a man. It is not only important for white people to look at him as a man, but it's also important for black people to look at him as a man as well. When I voted, I didn't vote for Barack because he was black. I voted for him because the message it was about to send to the whole world, it was that people can overlook their racial divides.
Now we're going up into Ad.
So we brought him here to work on the sugar cane. So what are these things, do you know?
This was the slave quarters were right here. So this is a ruin of a slave quarter. In a space like this?
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, this is where it all begun. This is the cliff where they jumped off.
They jumped off here?
This is the cliff. It goes down, and they, I mean, greenery and shit wasn't here, but this is the cliff. As deep as it is. Deep, and it's still deep.
Yeah, hell yeah. And they were trying to get to the waters, or they just knew?
No, they just said, we ain't doing this no more.
We've come so far as people. Having elected a black man president, many thought this was going to be the end of racism. But in the years since, many see this not to be true. Many tend to think that the issue has actually heightened. But the calls and complaints on racism seem to now have shifted in its stance from just one racial group being prejudiced towards the other. Racism, in a strange way, now sees no color, in the sense that it now does not discriminate towards just one race over the other, but to all.
Paperwork indicating they targeted white folk, adding that's all they'll go after. Some even saying they gained status in their gangs for beating up white dudes.
They broke out my nose right there on the side and did some damage to my eye.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning in downtown Baltimore, the day after St. Patrick's Day. Parties are winding down. Watch what happens to the guy in the green shirt. Someone notices his watch. You see someone grab something from his pocket. He goes to get it back. But it doesn't stop there. The man, who has been identified as a 31-year-old Arlington, Virginia resident, is kicked and punched and then stripped of his clothes. And the bystanders do nothing but laugh.
That's pretty sad.
Why? Tell me why.
I mean, obviously he didn't do anything to anybody. They just got up on him and started beating up on him.
In my estimation, is the only conclusion I have come to. We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Isn't this kind of language, when you talk about exterminating any particular race, no matter who says it, no matter what you have on your resume?
I'm talking about history and who's really doing the exterminating.
Right, well actually you can't accuse black people of being racist. You can't accuse black people of being racist.
You can't be racist if you're black?
No, as Billy Joel would say, we didn't start the fire. We inherited racism. I don't have the political or ability or economic ability to deprive you of anything. Therefore, I cannot be racist. But if you look historically...
Do you even know the definition of racism? Do you know what the definition is? Has nothing to do with what you just described about economic power. It's the inherent belief in superiority of one race over another.
You want freedom? You're going to have to kill some crackers. You're going to have to kill some of their babies. Let us get our act together.
Family, get on them crackers. Get on them Orientals. What the fuck? I mean, goddammit, get on these motherfuckers. Y'all supposed to be assassinating their ass. Hey, you fucking crackers, you got a lot to fucking pay for, man. All right, you got a whole lot to pay for, and we can't wait to see it, man. We can't wait for the Heavenly Father to give us that power to fuck this shit up. And the Lord is going to give us that power.
It is important to educate oneself. Too many times has someone been the victim for false accusations. Not only do people tend to judge someone for something their relatives or ancestors have done, making them guilty, even though the only association they may have is the color of their skin, but people are running their anger and distorting the facts to fuel their resentment instead of taking the course to heal.
I was doing a workshop at a high school, and it's so funny. This chick got up there, right, and it was like, you know, white people, you know, they murdered Martin Luther King. And I was like, okay. You know, they're like, you know, white people murdered Malcolm X. And I was like, not really. But I can see how you say that, okay. And then she was like, and they murdered Tupac. I was like, oh man. Wow, their ignorance is strong with the force.
Stanford police have said George Zimmerman's claims of self-defense kept them from arresting him, and now 10 days later, he's still free.
The problem with the race issue is just that. It's being made into a race issue. Meaning, a young black teenager being gunned down in a suburban neighborhood by a white Mexican man can be a racial issue, or, just maybe, it can be a humanitarian issue.
Now, notice some white people in here now thinking to themselves, finally, I just didn't want to say it. They might think I'm racist. Black people have been blaming us for all kinds of shit. And really, I get it, I do, but really, no one wants to take credit for the things they do. I mean, white people, y'all ain't no better. The way y'all treat Arabs, it's like you ain't learned from how this country has treated African Americans. And blacks, the way we treat Mexicans, it's like you ain't learned from the resentment you feel for being judged for the color of your own skin. You stupid motherfuckers. You're doing it again. To them. Judging people for their differences. And complaining about them taking jobs that you ain't even cared to apply for. I mean, imagine this. I mean, I can see it now. Black people cleaning houses and mowing lawns. What would they be saying? Yelling to the white man, what the fuck, do I look like your slave?
I find people just like to complain, because a lot of times our frustrations isn't exactly over from what someone is doing, but who is doing it. People tend to have old ways and old ideas in a society that is advancing beyond their primitive prejudices.
And false starts. There are many who won't agree with every decision or policy I make as president. And we know the government can't solve every problem.
When Obama was elected, I found myself so elated to live in a place like this. I went out to D.C. the night of his victory, and it was like Freaknik and Mardi Gras mixed together. It changed me. It changed a lot of people. But for me, seeing the many different races and nationalities come together, I no longer looked at the president as a black man. I looked at him as a man, and progress to being able to judge him fairly.
But I will always be honest with you about the challenges we face. I will listen to you, especially when we disagree.
My favorite president is not Barack Obama.
What?
Yeah, I know. But you know what? It's funny. Like, I really like to say that in a room full of black people. But really, what I like saying even more is my favorite president is Thomas Jefferson. And imagine should not be in a room full of black people. What? What? You know we own slaves, right? Yeah, I know that shit. I know that shit.
What does it mean to be post-racial? It doesn't mean to be post-white. White Americans have never been taught to think of themselves as a specific ethnic formation in the broader context of American ethnicity or race.
I don't understand it. When you really fucking think about how big the universe is, like billions of fucking stars out there, and you guys are fucking arguing each other over the color of your skin. I don't care what it is, black, white, like Asian, like I don't give a fuck what it is. It's crazy.
See, I don't want to stop being a black man, and I don't know what else to major in right about now. I done declared my major 50 years ago. This be it right here.
What is it to be black? What is it to be white, Asian, Hispanic? It's just an idea. It's all just a story we give to ourselves. So many people have fought for us to realize this. I remember when I was going through my own hatred and issues of race, my father would constantly remind me that even white men marched on Washington. Never had I imagined this country would elect a black man president. Never had I imagined an idea could be possible in this world, but we made it possible. We all made it possible. I learned people could change. I learned I could change. And that day, I promised myself, even if the whole world backtracks, I would never go backwards. Never would I let the color of my skin make the world so small again. You see, the solution is simple. I often look into the stars, imagining that I'm on another planet, with their intelligent life asking me to tell them about my history. My answer is always the same. I never tell them I'm a black man. Instead, I begin with Sumar, and then tell them about Egypt, Maya, Asia, Europe, and the Americas. So for them, I then call myself an earthling. But in saying this, they always look at me strangely, like I just said something wrong. And it then hits me. Even telling them that I'm an earthling, I begin to wonder, am I still making my world too small?
Black History Month you find ridiculous. Why? You're going to relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Well, come on, tell me. Well, I'm Jewish. Okay, which month is Jewish History Month? There isn't one. Oh, why not? Yeah. Do you want one? No, I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history. How are we going to get rid of racism? Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. Yeah. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
I know they give me respect, even before walking the venue, they see it's tatted on my neck.
Mark My Words Productions.